This month, across the country, over 9,300 United Airlines mechanics and related personnel are in the process of voting for a strong union, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters.
The ballots are due back March 31. We want to stop outsourcing. Right now, United outsources 45% of all of its maintenance work.
Teamster President James Hoffa says United Airlines outsources 45% of its maintenance work. Well, United Airlines told us today that it outsources less than 4%.
Hi, I'm Rich Petrowski. I'm a 38-year mechanic for United Airlines. I spent my entire career in San Francisco at the maintenance base. I mean, within the last 5 years, over 3,200 jobs have been lost altogether.
We're recalling people. When we came on the property, there was over 1,000 people on the layoff list in San Francisco. We've got it down to about 147. It may be slightly higher, but the fact is that people have been coming back to work here in the Bay Area, and there's going to be more jobs here because if we do this right, we can do work for other airlines.
Today, we're here in the steps of the City Hall to tell United Airlines to treat our mechanics professionally and treat them with respect that they deserve. Do they deserve respect? Yeah! Absolutely, and we're going to get that.
Meetings. Have you gone to local meetings and said there is?
Well, that's another. We haven't had a local meeting in. When's the last time we had a local meeting? We haven't had a local meeting in. Last hot weather. Hot weather. Yes.
What's your local fit? What local?
210 in Manhattan. 210 in Manhattan. 210. Yes, sir. In Manhattan.
Continental doesn't work on other people's airplanes, and that's what they should be focused on. Their own airlines that they represent now, they're not doing anything for those guys. Mechanics at Continental ask us all the time, why are they protesting at United? They don't do that for us. They've been at Continental for 10 years, and they've done nothing.
10 years ago, airlines spent less than 1/3 of their maintenance budget on outsourcing. Today, airlines spend 2/3 of their budget on outsourcing. No one knows how much they really outsource, but right now there are 700 repair facilities all over the world that airlines can choose from, and none of them have our standards. Our mechanics are worried about this risky practices, and some of the mechanics won't let their families fly on airplanes that are maintained from overseas. You know, when you talk about these U.S. repair facilities that are not even overseas, but they're not by United Airlines, they do not have the same standards that we have at United Airlines.
President Hoffa, there's a question from the AMFA that there was outsourcing at Continental Airlines, which the Teamsters represent. I was wondering what your position is on regard to that.
That's not true. What we're doing, we're the ones that are standing up for America. The Teamsters Union, whether it's NAFTA or whether it's sending good jobs out of the country, has stood tall. We have the best scope language in the industry to make sure that our contracts protect our work. And we're the ones that have kept good jobs in America. And the problem is that what's happening is these weaker unions are coming in, they're giving the store away, and they're the ones that are permitting companies like United Airlines to move to Beijing and places like that, where there's no security, where people are have no background checks, they're not drug tested, they don't know who these people are, and they aren't FAA certified. I don't know about you, but when I fly on a plane, I want an FAA certified mechanic working on that plane. That's what I want.
Is it true that the Teamsters spent hundreds of thousands of dollars flying on Northwest Airlines during the strike?
What Northwest Airlines?
There was a Northwest Airlines strike by the mechanics?
No, that's not true. Not true at all. Not true at all.
There was no money spent by Teamsters on Northwest Airlines during the strike?
No. We're a big, strong union. AMFA's weak. They basically have given jobs away everywhere they've been. They're basically a weak union, and these mechanics deserve a strong union to fight United Airlines to keep jobs in America.
On that point, will you be signing any anti-rating agreements, and will you be making any gestures in the coming days or weeks?
Well, you know, we are not setting up this federation to go raid the brothers that we have been with. And we will, this is not an operation to basically undermine the accomplishments that have happened. We are not out to raid people.
Conference at the Teamsters move out of the AFL-CIO. You said that you won't raid other union.
Well, We don't raid legitimate unions, and we don't think AMFA has done a good job for the members. In fact, we think they've betrayed the members. In so many areas, people have lost jobs because of the representation, and that's tragic. And that's what's happened. Especially Northwest Airlines. All those people lost their jobs because of poor strategy, because they called a strike they couldn't win. The problem is they don't know what they're doing. And that is dangerous when you're dealing with people's lives.
Well, hasn't there been a general loss of airline jobs?
You're dealing with career.
There's less than 8% of this country is unionized right now, and here we've got the Teamsters lambasting another union. That should never fly.
The Teamsters Union says it brought in 23,000 new members last year, and it appears that Hoffa wants more. Prisco says this is exactly why Hoffa was in San Francisco today, not to save jobs, but instead to rally union members away from Local 9 and into the Teamster Union.
They're all about hype. They're all about the show. You know, the look, the mythology of the Teamsters is what they're organizing around. And the problem with mythology is that eventually people find out that it's not true.
The Teamsters didn't raid United Airlines. Just as AMFA started out with a small core group who decided that they wanted to change representation, we did the same thing. This was a core grassroots effort in order to get rid of.
And why did well, I mean, what is this?
We're not doing it. We're not going to.
They're independent.
A few years ago, when Jim Hoffa was elected president, and I had the honor of being elected to the executive board to serve with him, when he met with our board, he said, our goals are clear. One, we want to negotiate good contracts for our members. Two, we want to enforce those contracts. And three, we want to organize the unorganized.
Recently, and I'm sure you guys probably took part in this, there was an informational picket at United Airlines versus some kind of Teamsters put it up. I thought it was very impressive. But the problem is, it didn't happen in my airline. And I've been under these guys for 11 years and nobody picketed my airline. Colgan Air just started flying with these poor $17,000 a year pilots. The day the first Q400 took off the ground, their pilots were picketing pay. The very first day. And I've never had a picket on subcontracting at Continental under the Teamsters. And I'm glad they did it again. I think that's a good thing. I think it's a phenomenal thing. Problem is it's not happening in my airline. And I don't want to sound brash, but to me that almost sounds like a lip service.
You know, in my lifetime, it wasn't that many years ago, that 35% of the private sector workforce in this country was in the hands of labor. It was in my lifetime, not many years ago, where we had a vibrant and stable middle class with rising wages. It wasn't that long ago that we talked about this extraordinary economy that was growing, where profits were up, sure, but wages were up and pensions were strong and healthcare opportunities were plentiful. It is extraordinary what's happened just in a few years in this country. We have watched the private sector labor representation now drop below 8%. The rhetoric is important, but we got to match that rhetoric with reality, and that's specific action that needs to be taken.
So right now they're trying to shut us down because they don't want our message out. See, if they were truly democratic, they would let us speak. But the key issue in front of us, let's not mistake it, is just a vote.
Teamsters! Teamsters! Who are we? Who are we?
Call me later and I'll
Who are we? Who are we? Who are we? Teamsters! 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 Teamsters!
How do you explain what's happened at Continental where they've outsourced jobs there?
Well, one thing about Continental, they went through two bankruptcies. In 1997, the Teamsters became their collective bargaining agreement agent, and they were able to keep work in, and they've actually increased jobs since then, since the terrorist attack on 9/11.
We represent right now the United Airlines aircraft maintenance technicians. We have for the better part of 4 years. We voted out a large union because we want a representation for our craft and class. And we're here to speak our piece and let folks know that we're here to represent our members. I don't know how the Teamsters are going to protect jobs. I don't know what's going on right now in the trucking industry, but it seems like there's a lot of part-time work out there. So I am kind of disappointed today. This is about labor, and we're all here to work together, and I really struggle with the fact that we hurt each other when we don't work together. So.